Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Leadership Void podcast. I'm Enrique with my co host Vince, and we are bringing you the best in our veteran, military spouse, and first responder community. And Vince will introduce today's guest.
Oh, thanks, Enrique. All the way from Lake Helen, Florida, we have with us not only the one, the only, the best of three, which is Cynthia Blackwell, the founder of The Magic of Three and author of The Magic Power of Three. So, Cynthia, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, a little bit about me. I'm originally from Texas. I'm the oldest of four girls. Calls me and my sisters half breeds. He's a coal miner's son, blonde hair, blue eyes, and still glows in the dark. And then Mama is Mexican, jet black hair, thick, high cheekbones, dark eyes, olive colored skin. And so then you bring us together, and that's who I am. Raised very Catholic, and outspoken, and learned leadership at home, bossing all my sisters around. Fast forward, I fell in love with a Florida boy who was a surfer, beautiful blonde hair, green eyes. We have six adult children, five girls and a boy. We have 10 grandchildren. So I learned about leadership. I learned not to negotiate with toddler terrorists a long time ago. I learned about budgeting. I learned negotiation skills. I learned leadership. I learned about personalities and love languages. Hence, fast forward what I do in my professional career, which is help my clients, either an organization or an individual, identify what their definition of success is, create that roadmap, and then take action to go make things happen. And so, yeah, that's me, a success coach and a first time author of a series of books. And I love the number three, except when it comes to children. I like to multiply it times two because I am Catholic and Hispanic. So there we go.
I love it. I love it. And if there's any learning environment, it is the family, right? So you learned leadership from a great platform. I love what you're doing. I love the fact of your book. You talk about the power of three. So tell us about the magic of three, your company, and what you're doing.
Well, the magic of three, I've been very strategic in creating and building a team around the magic of three. So I have a chief marketing officer that his entire career is marketing and advertising, and he looks at the data of it, and then we create the creative around the data so we can again get messaging out to serve people. Then I have my chief marketing or chief operating officer who is also lead counsel for the firm, so he takes care of all of the legalities and holds us accountable from the strategic initiatives. If we say we want these things, he holds us accountable to do it. And then I've got two incredible chicks that are both Melissas, and one is HR network marketing and now has a real estate broker license. And then I also have the other Melissa that is all about business development and online marketing, and is a very driven personality. So creating this team around me to hold me accountable, and then also make sure that we have healthy conflict in every one of our meetings and discussions. So our goal in 2023 is to again continue to promote the magical power of three, this first book, and then also I begin identifying and creating those partnerships and relationships for the series in the professional side, and then the series on the personal self-help side of the book, and create the series and then promote all of the material or retail products around the book. So our success playbook, the planner, taking all of the principles and easily fill in the blanks. So then that way you can take all of the principles from the book and apply it in life and have explosive success ASAP. ASAP right now, because as human beings, we want things instantaneously. We have a less attention span than a goldfish. A goldfish is 9 seconds. We're at like 8.5 seconds. You know, we want things right here, right now. And so that's my team is helping me design that experience quickly and then results quickly, because experiences teach, not words. Experiences do. So yeah, that's the
Yeah,
magic of three.
we love it, Cynthia. This is amazing. We have less brain power and more, sorry, less attention span than a goldfish. But having the intention behind developing a team and being strategic to reach out to the masses is phenomenal. What you're doing, I love you have healthy conflict at your meetings to develop and empower them to go forward in which what's going on with the magic power of three. Now, we all have experienced some way, shape, or form, personally or professionally, the pandemic. Can you please share with us the post pandemic lessons you learned that influenced or impacted your company?
Well, I've been working on the magical power of three, the book, for a decade. Research, implementing and testing the concepts, the approaches, the hacks, the tips, whichever word or phrase you want to use. I've been testing those out for 10 years, and then also doing an extensive amount of research on the magical power of three and its impact from a mathematical perspective, from a medical perspective, from a and the list goes on, right? Science, biblical, all of these different things. And so the pandemic provided me with an incredible opportunity to sit my rear end in a seat and finish the book. And so that's really what it did for me, is really push me to finish the book, and take all of these concepts and ideas and make them real, put life into that outline, and take all of that research and culminate it and put it into this book. Now, the book is 9 chapters, and each one of the chapters has three specific components to it. And so while I just delved into and gave you some details about the book, literally, it helped me to take it from here and hone it down into getting it on paper and getting it out the door. And then also creating strategically relationships within Central Florida and within the community, so I could boost the economy here and not just work with the big boys from a nationwide perspective. And then also tithe. So take 9% of the profits and proceeds of every sale of the book and set it aside to begin supporting children and nonprofits, or being even more philanthropic here in the community. And then also strengthen relationships that I already had in the community and then build new ones. And so really helping me with my skill set and networking from a social media perspective. So I went from a perfect example. I went from 4,000 connections and followers on LinkedIn to just shy of 10,000. So there's going to be a big party on LinkedIn on my, I should say, my channels, so to speak, when celebration when I hit 10,000 followers. And so again, these incredible opportunities that the pandemic has provided for me, yeah, finishing the book and really promoting it, and then really honing in on what is the messaging and what is it that the book is going to do? What is the magical power of three? How is it going to support other people's success? And how do I get the word out to the masses and not just help one person at a time? Not that that's not a beautiful, wonderful thing. It is. But how do I create the messaging to get it out to the masses and help more people than just one or two, or just here in Central Florida?
Well, as we dive into these episodes and interviews, we love hearing how something that's so tragic and was devastating to the world also provided, that almost that lava effect, when it comes down and scorches the land, and then all of a sudden after a few months you see this little green sprout come up, the beginning of life. And the pandemic indeed was painful and troublesome and devastating, but for some like you, provided an avenue of growth and honing in and taking your time and finally getting this book, to the hands of folks that can read it and benefit. So thank you for doing that and taking advantage, right? Because a lot of people did have that as well, but did not take advantage of it. So kudos to you and the team for doing that. Now, you're positioned for great things right now. You have the book. I saw you flash it. Here we go. People can buy it and support. But what's on the horizon for the Magic of Three? Where you want to go from here?
Well, the right here, short term, it's getting the book in as many people's hands as possible. And as a part of that, what I'm doing is everyone who purchases a copy of the book, either individually for themselves, they get a 30-minute success coaching session with me so we can focus on them. And literally every time I have a coaching session with someone, they reach back out to me within a week to 2 weeks to say, Cynthia, this blows my mind. I have never experienced such great success, explosive success, tremendous amount of success in such a short period of time, and after only one conversation. So that's one aspect. The other aspect or other thing that we're doing short term is companies that are buying a mass amount of books for either their supervisors and leadership or for their salespeople. I'm coming in and doing a 3-part coaching session with the team from a group perspective. Again, just to propel their team forward. And what they're experiencing is triple results fast. Now, long term, short term, we're also hosting a 2-day workshop in February. We've partnered with Concert Golf, which is Heathrow Alaqua here in Central Florida, and they are sponsoring and hosting a 2-day workshop in partnership with the Magic of Three. So then that way, everyone who purchases the book gets 2 golden tickets. And the reason why people are getting 2 is because I want you to bring someone with you. I talk all throughout the book the importance of having accountability partners in your life. And so I want people to bring someone with them that is going to experience this and then also hold each other accountable to achieve explosive success, but in a loving, nurturing environment and relationship. And then long term in 2023, I definitely want to make sure that my partnership with the Wiley Group, DISC personalities, because I'm also an expert and certified through the Wiley Group for DISC personalities or the personality profile assessments, all that fun stuff. And so taking it to the next level, and that is launching the next series of books. So the Magical Power of Three for real estate, the Magical Power of Three for law firms, how to grow your practice, how to really triple sales, triple profits, and triple your results. But then also the Magical Power of Three for addiction, the Magical Power of Three for weight loss. Now, the Magical Power of Three for childhood trauma, because addiction and trauma is close to my heart because I experienced childhood trauma as a child, and so did my youngest daughter. And my daughter is also celebrating coming up on 6 years being clean and working in the industry to help others. And so I'm taking the Magical Power of Three and my team, and we are taking it to the next level to serve others. I'm a servant leader. I have a servant heart. And so the people on my team are also servants. And so we are asking those questions. How do we take the Magical Power of Three, the Magic of Three, and expand it to serve others and teach others how to serve in an explosive way? So did I answer your question?
You exploded the answer with all those great facts and tabloids. So thank you. But first, let me just say congrats to your daughter for her 6th year being clean. I had my daughter just celebrate her 1st year on September 15th. So I understand the power that is and how joyful that is as a parent. And what you're doing seems like a series like Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup of the Soul, with addiction for real estate. I definitely think that's some great long-term effects. You want to propel those teams. And speaking of propel, how do you propel yourself? So let's talk about propelling in the leadership arena. So Cynthia, what do you do on your spare time that aids you to thrive or propel in your professional life?
Well, first and foremost, I'm intentional. So I make sure that my morning routine, which is chapter 2, Carpe Diem, right? I make sure that I'm setting myself up for success every single morning. So the first thing that I do is feed my spirituality. I listen to scripture, I read scripture, I practice what I preach, and I literally have 3 scriptures on index cards, right, that I read, and it's all about the power of the tongue. So then that way I'm intentional with the words that come out of my mouth, because words are great big craters of power. And once they're out, y'all, we can't bring them back in. And so feeding my spirituality, then feeding my mindset. The 3 most powerful words in any language is today I am. And so I make sure that I'm saying 3 things to myself every single day. Today I am leading fearlessly. Today I am, you know, aggressively, boldly going after my dreams. And then, very importantly, because I'm fast paced, I always say to myself every morning, today I am focused. And I'm provided with opportunities all day to appreciate that distraction and then get my ass back to work. Third is physical, preparing my physical body to manage the stressful things that life is going to throw at me every single day. And so I turned 56 on October 11th, y'all. And so I make sure that I'm stretching and, you know, doing this, doing that, stretching, you know, some weights, going to the gym to keep myself healthy again, so I can manage those stressful things that come at me every single day. And so the final thing that I would say to you is being intentional every single day to invest and make relational deposits with other people, spending time with you, helping me get the word out more, motivating, inspiring other people to reach out, you know, try and fail, but don't fail to try, people. Give it a shot. You know, experiences teach. How the hell are we going to learn and grow if we don't try new things, right? And I don't want to be on my deathbed, you know, taking my last breath and going, you know, I really wish I had. Oh no, I'm going to be saying, thank you, Heavenly Father, that I had the opportunity to try all those crazy things and fail at some, but I had a great time and I learned a lot. And I led by example for my children. So then that way my children could be incredible parents and lead by example for my grandchildren. I want my grandchildren to go, you know what? My Mimi was a crazy broad, but boy, my Mimi taught me a lot of things, you know? My Mimi taught me a lot about hugs and kisses and the importance of hugs and kisses and sharing love and appreciation with others and having gratitude in my heart. And Mimi also taught us how to, you know, just live life with zest. Go do, go try new things and have fun, no matter who you're with and what you're doing. Even if we had to add a little bit of wine or vodka to it, you know, a little Tito's, we're going to have fun.
And I was over here saying, my Mimi has zest. And you just said, you know, you bring zest to life and in leadership, you know, you have to do that. Have to find a way of bringing some type of flavor. You know, being Hispanic heritage, man, we have plenty of that here today from all aspects. But you know, and great advice, not only as you practice it for yourself, but for others to emulate and follow. I wanted to ask you what sort of advice did you get growing up, you know, in that training ground of family and and that environment that you would like to share with an emerging leader that is just maybe just starting out or getting their feet wet in leadership?
Okay, well, there were 3 people. My dad was an official for the railroad, and my dad's personality, 3 words that I would use is driven, demanding, and um, yeah, driven and demanding. Okay, and so when people have asked me, where do you get your grit? Where do you get that 12 pack of whoop ass you carry on your back? I say, well, I get that from daddy. Daddy was a lightweight professional boxer, and I'm the oldest of 4 girls, so daddy made sure we knew how to box, protect, you know, elbows in, protect, boom, 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 you know? And so I learned to cook, I learned to hug and kiss, and I learned the gift of gab from my mother. My mother, we would go to the grocery store. Mama would carry a conversation with a complete stranger. We'd walk away. I mean, it was like como la familia. you know? And I would say, Mama, who is that? She'd go, I don't know. And I said, well, Mama, you talk to them like, she said, see, mijita, because you always treat people as if they're a part of the family. Always extend kindness to other people. And then, Jesus loved. Jesus loved first. And so you love first, you are show kindness to people, and then it comes back to you. The more I give, the more I receive. The more I receive, the more I give. Chapter 7 of the book. And then I would say, next are my two grandmothers, okay? Nanny, the Mexicana, mi abuela, and then grandma, right? So my gringa grandma. And so both of these women, different personalities. Nanny used to say, mija, cuando tú tienes miedo, when you're afraid, pray. When you're unsure, pray. He will answer you. He will bring the answers to you. And then, of course, my grandma was like, don't take no shit off nobody. If you want something, you better speak up. You better speak up and go for it. So, grandma and daddy, very similar. And then nanny and, my mom, very similar. And so those are the three groups that really molded me. And, oddly enough, funny, I was rather shy as a girl growing up, not at home, but out in, the community or in, at school, things like that. And daddy used to say things to me like this: if you don't speak up, girl, and you don't tell people what you want and what you expect, you'll never get it. And so that resonated for me once I, started maturing and then really getting out into the workforce. That's when I really started exercising and learning more about my natural intuition and instincts and ability to inspire and influence other people and leading. And so it started in the restaurant industry. And then, I worked my way up and started school late, started college once I already had 6 children, and I was 28 years old, by the way. So, yeah. Did I answer your question?
Oh, absolutely. I love to be a fly on the wall in your family gatherings because you definitely have a lot of corazón, a lot of ambiente, a lot of heart, a lot of alegría, a lot of ambiance. But what I'm hearing is that there was strength in a lot of these teachings, both from the side of don't put up with that, or internalize some love, internalize the hugs and kisses. And also, I heard the lesson that you conveyed to the audience is, you know, just like Enrique and I talked before you met with us, is you have to put it out in the universe. You have to do the ask because you never know what you're going to get. So, folks, that's some great advice. Ask for it and things shall come your way. So, please, that's a great advice you gave. So, Cynthia, let's transition and ask this question now. Most memorable leadership aha moment have you encountered you'd like to share with our audience today?
Oh boy. So here's a great book that I read many, many years ago, and it's The 1 Minute Manager. And that book really resonated for me because I was already a leader at work. However, when I read the book at that point in my personal life, I had more aha moments. Being the mother of teenagers, boy, let me tell you, I did not appreciate puberty the first time, and I damn sure didn't appreciate it the 7th time with the youngest, okay? However, what I learned was how to have a constructive, positive conversation with any one of my children who had different personalities. I could be very direct with, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Why did you do that? What outcome were you expecting? To where I had to be a little more sensitive and subtle and gentle with another child. But again, that 1 Minute Manager book helped me develop that kiss and slap approach. Many HR people do not like that with me. But I know no other way than to say, hey, listen, you do this really, really well, but this area right here, you need to work on this. And this is why. Because in order for you to achieve, now here's the third component or the third leg of that stool, in order for you to achieve this or the things that you want in life, you need to have an understanding of where you're doing really well and the areas that you need to strengthen in order for you to achieve those things. So that was an aha moment many, many years ago for me. And it just continued as I continue to build upon my knowledge of human behavior and why they do the things that they do, and learning more about personalities. And so, yeah.
Well, it's a thing. Leadership is a thing that folks are not really ready for when you talk about the totality of what you must do and how you have to take yourself out of you in order to put yourself in somebody's shoes to help them and guide them and give them those points that will help them succeed. Now, it takes strategy. Earlier, you mentioned about the things that come at you and stressors of life, and you have to, you know, uh, have a regiment for yourself that will facilitate you being successful even when those times come. So, what certain strategies do you use when you're talking about dealing with change and challenges?
Well, I'm a fast-paced personality, and so fast-paced personalities, we love change. We're like, oh, let me examine this process. I know there's a better way we can do this. We can do it faster. And so for me, I embrace change. I lean into the wave, right? Um, I I I love it. However, more passive personalities, not so much. And so, from a leadership perspective, the number one thing that I always recommend and that I do is getting to know yourself. What are my strengths? What are my lesser strengths? What are my habits and characteristics of my personality that really promote success for me? And then what are those not so, traits and characteristics of my personality that cause me to self sabotage? And so that's my number one, you know, piece of advice is work on you first. Get to know you, because me, myself, and I, those are the three most important people that you should have in your life besides your spirituality. And then second is, the external environment. If change makes you very uncomfortable, get to know yourself and identify why it makes you uncomfortable, so then that way you can create processes and procedures around change, so you can then do a better job of adapting, because change is happening all around us. The pandemic is a perfect example. We have a lot more interactions like this than we used to 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And companies, for example, we all know this, companies that were fighting, flexible work schedules or virtual employees, things like that, they had no choice. They had to jump in, and they were not prepared. And so, again, get to know yourself first. If you are a fast paced person and you embrace change, surround yourself with more passive people that pay more attention to the details and processes and procedures and like them more than you. So then that way they can go like this to you. Hey, whoa, wait a minute, slow down. So then that way, again, the change is a positive change. You understand the change and you know how to lean into the wave. So then that way you've got a great ride. Did I answer your question?
Great ride indeed. You definitely answered our question. And great strategies, lean into it, know thyself, talk about greatness with family, be intentional. And she shared these three powerful words: today I am. And this is a component that you'll learn more about. And you have to reach Cynthia to find out how to get a copy of her book or how to get a hold of her. So, folks listening in, guess what? Cynthia's going to tell you how to get a hold of her or a copy of The Magic Power of Three. How do they do that?
You did? Okay, fantastic. Yay. I invite all of you. Number one, you can send me an email. It's real easy. me at cynthiablackwell.com. You can find me on social media, LinkedIn. I now started playing with TikTok and having fun with that. So Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. If you do a search for Cynthia Blackwell, I promise you, you'll find me. There's only one, the Cynthia Blackwell. You can pick up a copy of the book by typing in The Magical Power of Three book on Google. It pops up for you. Or again, you can send me a direct message on any one of the social media platforms. And remember, if you pick up a copy of the book, you get a 30-minute success coaching session with me. And we focus on three things: what's going really great for you, what could be better, and then now what are we going to do differently, or what should you do differently now that you have the answers to question number 1 and number 2.
All right, folks, and we're going to have that as part of the video and show notes so that you can get a hold of Cynthia, her book, and anything else that she's offering for you during her specialty. And if you want to get a hold of us at the Leadership Board Podcast, the leadershipboard at gmail.com is where you'll send that inquiry. Anybody you'd like to see on the show or a topic covered, especially if it's leadership, let us know and we'll make sure to curate that list and answer the mail. We want to also make sure you know radio check is something that we do. It is our show to facilitate an avenue for folks in the military, veterans, military spouse, first responder community to come in and hear a discussion around what's new and what's upcoming, but also to have an avenue to share and be able to communicate and not be alone. So radio check every first and 15th of the month at 7 p.m. Eastern, 1900 for those that are military. Come join us on LinkedIn Live and we will be there. And next week, we'll have another dynamic leader. So join us that is doing great things in our community and for our community.
But today was all about Cynthia Blackwell. Cynthia, thank you for being on the show. Any parting words before you close out?
Be intentional, y'all. Be intentional and strategic. If you're fast paced, move fast, talk fast, schedule 15 minutes to slow down and ask yourself 3 questions. What's going really well for me? What could be better? And then review your answers and create a simple 3-step plan for you to move forward. So with that, leverage the magical power of 3. And if you got anything out of my interview and time that I'm spending with you today, it's pay attention to your morning routine and the 3 things that you're doing every single morning to set yourself up for success. Not, it was an okay day. It was all right. No, hell no. Explosive, big. Wow, I had a great day today. Yeah,